Ladies and gentlemen, don't you dare confuse a woman's quiet house with an empty life. Don't you dare misjudge the silence around her for sorrow within her. She may be walking alone, sleeping alone, even fighting battles alone. But don't mistake that solitude for suffering, because some women were not made to blend in. They were built to break chains, rise in storms, and glow in the dark. Let me tell you something you won't hear in gossip. You won't read in tabloids, and you won't see on your timeline. There's a truth, a powerful, unshakable, undeniable truth about women who live alone without a man. And today, we're going to speak it. Solitude is not a sentence, it is a sanctuary. It is not a punishment for failure, nor a badge of shame. For the woman who lives alone, solitude becomes a sacred space, a holy ground where healing takes place. Vision becomes clear and strength is forged in silence. In a world that constantly equates a woman's worth with her relationship status, she dares to redefine herself by the peace she carries rather than the partner she has. She isn't isolated, she's insulated. Her space is not empty, it's intentional. It's filled with purpose, filled with presence, filled with quiet power. She doesn't rush to fill the silence with noise or the rooms with anyone who doesn't honor her spirit. Instead, she fills her home with worship, her mind with wisdom, and her heart with gratitude. In her solitude, she has found the voice she once silenced, the dreams she once buried, and the identity she once compromised. The world may look at her and say she's alone, but heaven looks at her and says she's becoming. She is learning to love without dependency, to grow without approval, and to stand without leaning. In this sanctuary of solitude, she walks through her healing. She listens to God more clearly, and she releases everything that once chained her spirit. There is a divine transformation that happens in the quiet. The kind of change that doesn't make noise, but makes impact. And while others chase chaos in the name of love, she chooses calm in the name of wholeness. Her solitude is not a signal of lack, but a declaration of legacy. She is not waiting to be rescued. She is rising to be revealed, because in solitude, she is not forgotten. She is being fortified. Her independence is not a threat, it's a triumph. It is not a rejection of love, but a reflection of strength. Too many misread her self-sufficiency as arrogance, her confidence as pride, her clarity as coldness. But what they fail to see is the journey that built this woman, the battle she survived, the tears she wiped herself, the dream she carried without applause. She did not wake up one day and decide to stand alone. Life handed her storms, and she built shelter with her bare hands. She learned to fix what was broken without always calling for help. She learned to clap for herself when no one else showed up. She learned to build tables when she was no longer offered a seat. Her independence is not a wall to keep people out. It's a bridge to her peace. It is not rooted in bitterness. It is anchored in healing. She has learned the cost of compromising herself for the comfort of others, and she's not willing to shrink again. She doesn't carry her own weight because she wants to prove anything. She carries it because she's had to. And now she walks not with resentment, but with reverence. She honors the path that made her this strong. She celebrates the version of herself who did quit when quitting would have been easier. Her independence is not the absence of love. It's the presence of self-worth. She knows that a relationship should add to her, not rescue her. She knows her value is not in being chosen by someone, but in choosing herself daily. So when she walks into a room with her head held high, it's not a challenge, it's a testimony. She is not a threat, she is the result of triumph. God doesn't overlook single women, He equips them. While the world may pity their status or question their completeness, heaven sees something entirely different. God is not ignoring her because she doesn't have a partner. He is preparing her because He's about to do something powerful through her. She is not in a holding pattern. She is in a refining process. The absence of a man in her life is not the absence of purpose. In fact, it's often the space where divine assignments are birthed and mantles are placed. She may not have someone lying next to her at night, but she has a God who walks with her daily. He whispers strategy into her soul, gives her wisdom beyond her years, and strength that confuses those watching from the outside. While others see singleness as delay, God sees it as development. He is building her capacity, sharpening her discernment, expanding her identity in Him alone. He equips her with more than beauty and grace. He gives her resilience, intelligence, and anointing. She leads in boardrooms, raises children, serves in ministry, runs businesses, writes books, and shapes generations, all without needing to be validated by a relationship status. She's not just waiting for someone to find her. She's already been found by the one who formed her, called her, and positioned her for impact. This season isn't punishment, it's positioning. God is not late and she is not forgotten. In the secret places of solitude, God is downloading dreams, healing old wounds, and preparing divine connections. When the time is right, what He's building in her will not only bless her, it will bless nations. God doesn't overlook single women. He trusts them with greater assignments. She carries both the sword and the softness. Don't let her gentle voice fool you. Don't mistake her grace for weakness or her kindness for submission. This woman has mastered the art of balance. She knows when to fight and when to rest, when to speak and when to remain silent, when to push and when to pray. She is a warrior cloaked in elegance, a nurturer armed with discernment, a peacemaker who knows how to stand her ground when peace is threatened. Life has taught her to sharpen her sword, not to destroy, but to defend. She had to learn how to protect her mind from lies, her heart from users, and her future from distractions. She walks with wisdom, not because it was handed to her, but because she earned it in the fire of experience. She's not hard because she wants to be, and yet, within all that strength lies a softness that hasn't been stolen, a heart that still believes, still gives, still hopes, still loves. Her softness is not a flaw, it's a gift. It is what allows her to be tender with the broken, patient with the lost, and compassionate with the hurting. She knows how to cradle a child and confront a challenge in the same breath. Her embrace brings comfort, but her boundaries command respect. She is the kind of woman who can hold her own, yet make room for others. She can endure battles and still offer peace. She can be both the answer to a storm and the calm after it. She doesn't have to choose between power and tenderness. She embodies both. Because real strength isn't loud or cruel. Real strength is a woman who carries both the sword and the softness. Her standards are not too high. Her healing is just too deep. People often whisper that she's too picky, too guarded, too strong. But what they don't understand is that her standards weren't built from pride. They were born from pain. She's not looking for perfection. She's protecting her peace. She's not chasing a fantasy. She's guarding her future. What once broke her now built boundaries. What once wounded her now gives her wisdom, and what once caused her to settle now fuels her to wait. She's been through too much to pretend she's okay with anything less than real. She's healed from the kind of love that took more than it gave, silenced more than it supported, and drained more than it filled. Now she no longer craves chaos disguised as chemistry. She no longer entertains promises without patterns. Her heart has been through war, and she's not about to hand it over to someone who hasn't been trained to handle it with care. When she says no, it's not bitterness, it's boundaries. When she walks away, it's not pride, it's preservation. She knows her worth, not because someone told her, but because God reminded her in her lowest moments. Her healing journey has been sacred, private, and powerful. So no, she's not lowering her standards to meet someone in their dysfunction. She's inviting someone to rise into their destiny just as she did. She's not asking for too much. She's simply asking for what she's already become. Integrity, consistency, peace, purpose, spiritual maturity. Those aren't luxuries to her. They're necessities. She's done confusing emotional chaos with love. Her healing won't let her go backwards. Her standards aren't walls. They're windows. And only those with vision will see the value behind them. She is not alone. She's aligned. While the world may see an empty seat beside her, heaven sees divine order in front of her. She may not have a hand to hold at night, but she holds something greater, purpose, peace, and power that flows from above. She walks to the rhythm of a deeper calling, guided by a voice that doesn't shout, but speaks clearly in the quiet. She isn't wandering without direction. She's being led without distraction. There is alignment in her life that cannot be explained by surface eyes. Her steps are ordered, her time is protected, and her energy is no longer wasted. She doesn't move just to be seen. She moves when she's sent. Her life may look different from what culture calls complete, but that's because she isn't conforming. She's becoming. She's not waiting for someone to show her the way. She has been found by the way, and now she's walking it with confidence. She doesn't chase approval because she's aligned with assignment. She doesn't need a title to feel worthy because she already knows who she is. Alignment has taught her that peace matters more than presence, that wholeness matters more than company, that destiny doesn't require distractions, it requires devotion. She's not lonely, she's intentional. Every friendship, every conversation, every connection must now align with where she's going, not where she's been. Because alignment doesn't just bless your life, it protects your life. So when others wonder why she's not rushing into arms, it's because she's already wrapped in purpose. She is not without love. She's surrounded by alignment. Heaven has her attention. And when alignment is your position, Favor becomes your portion. She is not alone. She is in sync with the divine. So let the world keep wondering. Let them keep talking. Let them keep assuming that the woman who walks alone is lacking something. Because what they don't see is that she is not just surviving, she is thriving. She's not desperate. She's discerning. She's not incomplete. She's evolving. This woman has chosen herself not out of selfishness, but out of sacred understanding. She has found in her solitude a sanctuary, in her independence a triumph, in her singleness a strategy, and in her stillness a divine alignment. She carries both strength and softness, not because life gave her options, but because life demanded both. Her standards come from healing, her purpose flows from heaven, and her future is guarded by grace. She is not waiting for permission to be powerful. She is not holding her breath for someone to come and complete her story. She is the story. She is the evidence. She is the miracle in motion. And whether she walks alone or with someone beside her, she will walk in truth, in purpose, and in fire. Because the truth about women who live alone without a man is that they are never really alone. They are carried by strength, surrounded by angels, and covered by God.